My OB just told me something about my pregnancy that my husband clearly already knew, and now I can't stop shaking. I don't even know how to start this. I've been sitting in my car in the hospital parking garage for almost 40 minutes just staring at my phone, trying to figure out who to call first, and I keep putting it back down. So I'm typing this instead because my hands need to do something. I, 37F, am 14 weeks pregnant. This is my second pregnancy. My first was 4 years ago and ended in a miscarriage at 11 weeks, which was one of the worst things I've ever been through. So this time around, my husband Declan and I agreed we were going to be cautious, wait until we were solidly in the second trimester before telling anyone, keep things quiet. That felt reasonable. That felt like a plan we made together. For the past 3.5 months, I've been going to my OB appointments alone. Declan works in logistics and his schedule is genuinely unpredictable. He's had to fly out with almost no notice multiple times this year. After the first appointment, when he had to leave halfway through to take a call, we agreed it was just easier if I went solo and filled him in after. That also felt reasonable. That also felt like a plan we made together. I want to be really clear about that, because I'm starting to question every single plan we've ever made together. Okay. Here's what happened today. I went in for my 14-week appointment. Standard stuff, blood pressure, weight, the usual. My OB is a woman named Dr. Felice who I genuinely love. She's no nonsense and warm and doesn't sugarcoat things. She came in, we chatted for a few minutes, she pulled up my file, and then she paused and looked at me with this careful expression, the kind that meant she was doing rapid math in her head. So how are you feeling about everything emotionally? She said. Are you and your husband doing okay with the news? I said, what news? She looked at me for a long moment. The NIP results, she said. From last week. I told her I hadn't gotten any results yet. I told her I'd been waiting and had a note on my phone to call the office if I hadn't heard by Friday. She looked back at her computer screen. Then at me again. And very carefully she said, Mrs. Callahan, your results were released through the portal last Tuesday. There's a note here that the office also spoke with someone by phone on Wednesday morning to go over the findings. I have the portal app on my phone. I had received 0 new notifications. I told her that. She turned her screen slightly toward me. I could see the portal activity log, last Tuesday, results accessed. Wednesday, phone consultation completed. I did not access those results. I did not have a phone consultation. My husband's name is on my account as an authorized contact. We set that up after the miscarriage, because I'd had a really hard time processing medical information alone when I was upset. I wanted him to be able to call and ask follow-up questions on my behalf if I needed that. I think I actually set that up myself. Because I loved him and trusted him and thought we were a team. Dr. Felice was being so careful with her words by this point. She said she wanted to make sure I had all the information I needed, and asked if I'd like her to go over the results with me now. I said yes. She told me the NIPT had come back with a high probability flag for trisomy 21. Down syndrome. I want to be clear, that is not the thing making me shake. It's a lot, and I haven't fully processed it, and there are follow-up tests to confirm. Dr. Felice was thorough about walking me through the next steps and the range of outcomes. That's real and heavy and I'm going to have feelings about it that I haven't gotten to yet. The thing making me shake is that my husband found out last Wednesday and did not tell me. It has been 6 days. I sat with that in Dr. Felice's office and kept thinking, he knew on Wednesday. Wednesday night we had dinner together. We watched something on TV. He rubbed my feet because I mentioned they were sore. He kissed me before we went to sleep. Thursday he texted me a meme about how the baby was supposedly the size of a lemon this week. A lemon. He sent me a lemon meme while sitting on information he had specifically gone around me to get. Dr. Felice asked if I was okay and I said yes in a completely hollow voice. I think she knew I wasn't, but she was professional about it. She gave me a referral for a genetic counselor and information about the amniocentesis, and said gently that she'd recommend we both come in for the next appointment. I said absolutely like a robot and walked to my car. That was 47 minutes ago. I keep picking up my phone to call Declan, and then I think about the lemon meme and I put it down. Here's what I can't figure out. What was the plan? Was he going to tell me eventually? Was he waiting for some specific moment? Was he trying to protect me? Because we have been here before. After the miscarriage, when I was really not okay for a while, he went into this mode where he would quietly manage things, make decisions, handle logistics, and not tell me because he said watching me be in pain was unbearable for him. We did couples counseling over it. I thought we had worked through it. I thought he understood that managing things without telling me wasn't protection. It was just control with better intentions. Or, and I keep pushing this thought away, but it keeps coming back, was he not planning to tell me at all? Was he doing research? Was he figuring out what he wanted before I even knew there was a decision to make? Because here's the thing, Declan and I have never directly talked about what we would do in a situation like this. I know how that sounds. But it never came up with the first pregnancy because we found out about the miscarriage before any of the genetic screening happened. And when I got pregnant this time, we were both so focused on getting past the 11-week mark that we didn't go there. I don't know what he believes. I don't know what he wants. And he has had 6 days to think about it without me. I've been trying to find an innocent explanation. Maybe he saw the notification, got scared, called to get information so he could understand it before talking to me, and then just hasn't found the right moment. That's possible. That could be true. But he sent me a lemon meme. My best friend Soren keeps texting asking if everything is okay, because I was supposed to call her after the appointment. I can't tell her before I talk to Declan. But I also cannot make my hands dial his number. What do I even say? Hey, so it turns out you've been sitting on our baby's health results for 6 days. Also, I guess we need to figure out our entire future while I'm still finding out this information for the first time. I'm not even angry yet, I don't think. I'm something worse than angry. I'm that specific kind of scared that comes when you realize the version of reality you've been living in isn't the actual reality. He's going to have a reason. He always has a reason. And the reason is probably going to make a certain kind of sense, and that almost makes it worse. I'm going to call him. I don't know what's going to happen when I do. Update 1. Okay. I called him. I'm still in the parking garage. I think the attendant has looked over at my car twice. I don't care. He picked up on the second ring, which he almost never does when he's at work. He said, "Hey, how'd the appointment go?" in a completely normal voice. Something happened in my chest. Not anger exactly. More like a door closing very quietly. I said, "It was interesting. Dr. Felice went over the NIP results with me." Silence. Not a short one. The kind that has weight to it. "Deck," I said. She showed me the portal log. He said, "Okay. Just that." I asked him why. I didn't yell, I don't think I was capable of yelling. I just asked him why he had accessed my results without telling me, why he'd called the office, and why he hadn't said anything in 6 days. He was quiet for a moment, and then he said, "I was trying to figure out the right way to tell you." I said, "It's been 6 days." He said, "I know." I said, "You sent me a lemon meme." He made this sound, not quite a laugh, not quite a sob, somewhere between the two. It was one of the most awful sounds I've ever heard him make. He said, "I know. I was trying to act normal. I didn't want you to know something was wrong." And I said, "So instead you let me walk into my OB appointment and find out from my doctor." More silence. "I didn't think it would come up today," he said finally. "I thought I had a few more days." A few more days. I told him I needed him to come home. He said he'd leave right now. He commutes about 45 minutes, so I'm sitting here deciding whether to drive home and wait or go somewhere else first. Soren has texted 3 more times. I finally replied I'm okay, I'll explain later because I couldn't do nothing. Here's the part I keep turning over. When I said I thought we worked through this in therapy, he didn't say we did or you were right, I messed up. He said, "This felt different." I asked him what that meant. He said, "Can we talk about it when I get home? Please?" I said yes. But I need to know what this felt different means. I need to know if he means the diagnosis felt different, or the decision felt different, or something else I'm not prepared for. I think I'm about to find out something bigger than the thing I already found out. That's the feeling I have right now. Like what happened in the parking garage was just the edge of it. Update 2. I'm home. Declan got here about 20 minutes after I did, and I had those 20 minutes alone in the house, which were both too long and not long enough. He looked terrible when he walked in. Like he hadn't slept, which maybe he hasn't. I don't know what his nights have looked like this week, because apparently I don't know what any of his week has looked like. He sat down across from me at the kitchen table. Not next to me. Across. I don't know if he did that consciously. He talked for a long time. He said he'd gotten a notification on his phone, he has the portal app too, from when we set up his access, and he saw it come through while he was in a meeting. He stepped out, opened it, and read the results standing in a hallway at work. He said his first thought was that he needed more information before he could talk to me. He didn't want to call me in a panic and not be able to answer my questions. So he called the office the next morning and spoke with a nurse who walked him through what the flag meant and what the next steps looked like. I said, "That's the same conversation I had today with my actual doctor." He said, "I know." I asked why he didn't just tell me that night. Wednesday. Dinner and TV and my feet and all of it, and this is where it got heavier. He said, "Because I wasn't ready." I said, "You weren't ready." He said, "I needed to know what I thought before I could talk to you about it. I couldn't have the conversation before I knew where I stood." I sat with that. Then I said, very carefully, where you stood on what? He looked at the table. Then back at me. On what we should do, he said. I said, Declan. That is not a decision you get to form an opinion on before I'm even in the room. He said, I know. I know that. I just wanted to come to you with something. Not just panic. I asked him what he'd decided. He said he doesn't know. That he'd spent 6 days trying to figure it out and he still doesn't know. That he kept going back and forth, and every time he thought he was ready to talk to me he'd find something else he hadn't worked through yet. I believe him. That's the thing. I can see that he's been through something awful this week, and I believe his intentions were somewhere in the neighborhood of trying to protect me. And I also cannot get past the fact that he gave himself 6 days of processing time that he did not give me. I said, I want to be angry at you and I can't figure out how, and that is making me angrier. He said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't have anything else. We sat there for a while. Then I asked him to tell me what he actually thinks, not what he thinks he should think, but what he actually thinks right now, sitting here. He was quiet for a long time. He said, I think I'm scared. And I think I need to know what you think before I can figure out what I think. I said, that's not fair either. He said, I know. I don't have a next step. I have a genetic counselor appointment. I have an amniocentesis scheduled for 2 weeks from now to confirm the results. I have a husband across the table from me who is sorry and scared and who I love and who did something I don't fully have language for yet. I haven't cried. I keep waiting to and it keeps not happening. Soren called again, and I finally picked up and said, the NIPT came back flagged and Declan knew before I did and I can't really talk right now. She said, I'm coming over. I said please don't. She said, okay, but I'm parking outside. I said Soren, and she said, I'm not coming in. I'm just going to be outside. She's outside right now. I can see her car from the window. Update 3. It's been 4 days since my last update. I wasn't ready to write anything before now. The genetic counselor appointment was yesterday. Declan came. We sat next to each other in the waiting room without talking much, then went in together. A very calm woman named Petra explained everything in this organized, unhurried way that I think we both needed. She answered questions. She did not tell us what to do, she said that wasn't her job, and she meant it. Declan held my hand for most of it. I let him. Afterward, sitting in the car, he said, I'm sorry I took that from you. The week. I keep thinking about you walking into that appointment not knowing, and it makes me feel sick. I said, it should. He said, yeah. I said, I need to know it won't happen again. Not just this, any version of you deciding to manage information about my own body because you're not ready. He said, I know. I've been thinking about whether I need to go back to therapy. Alone, not couples. I think there's something I haven't fixed. That surprised me. I didn't say anything for a second. Then I said, I think you're probably right. We don't know what we're going to do. That conversation has started and stopped 3 times, and each time it stalls out because we're still waiting on the amnio confirmation. I think we're both using that as a reason not to fully go there yet. Petra said that's common. She didn't say whether it was okay. I still haven't fully cried about the diagnosis itself. I've cried about Declan. I've cried about feeling alone in something I was supposed to not be alone in. The other thing is still sitting at a distance. I can see it from here, but I can't quite reach it yet. Soren came over 2 nights ago and we sat on the back porch. She didn't ask what I was going to do. She just said, whatever you decide, I'm going to help you. I didn't ask her to say that, and I didn't know how much I needed to hear it until she did. The amnio is in 10 days. I don't know how to explain what it's like to wait for a result that confirms something you've already been told is probably true. It's a strange suspended feeling. Like living inside a parenthesis. Declan has been different. Present in a way that feels genuine rather than performed. He's been coming home on time. He asked yesterday if he could come to the amnio, and I said yes, and I told him that wasn't because we're okay yet. It's because I don't want to be alone for it. He said he understood the difference. I think he does. I think that might actually be new. Update 4. The amnio was 8 days ago. I've been trying to find the right words since then, and I'm not sure I have them, but I'm going to try. The confirmation came back Thursday. Trisomy 21, confirmed. I was in the kitchen when I saw the notification come through, and I just stood there at the counter for a minute. Declan was in the other room. I called his name and he came in, and I turned my phone toward him, and we stood there together in our kitchen reading it at the same time. He put his arm around me and I let him, and then I started crying, really crying, for the first time since all of this started. Not about what he did. About this. About our baby. About what comes next and what it means and all the things I've been keeping at arm's length for weeks while I dealt with everything else. He cried too. We stood at the counter for a long time. We've had the conversation now. The real one. All the way through, no stalling. It took most of a Saturday and a long drive in a diner somewhere on the edge of town where we sat in a booth for 2 hours and just talked. I'm not going to share the details of what we decided, that part is ours, but I'll say that we got there together, and that when we finally landed somewhere, it was the same place. I don't know if I could have told you a month ago that we'd get there together. I wasn't sure there was a together anymore. There's still a lot I'm working through about what he did. He started individual therapy 2 weeks ago. I don't think it fixes what happened, and I don't think it was supposed to. I think it's just the thing he needed to do, and he's doing it, and that means something even if I can't fully quantify what yet. The thing I keep coming back to is this: he made a mistake that came from a real flaw, and the flaw has a name. His therapist apparently called it protective withholding, which is a phrase I've been turning over ever since. He didn't lie to hurt me. He lied because he thought he was shielding me. That doesn't make it okay. But it makes it something I can try to understand, and understanding it is different from excusing it, and I'm trying to hold on to that distinction. Soren came over last weekend and brought food and didn't ask too many questions and stayed for 4 hours. That's the kind of friendship that I don't take for granted anymore. I don't have a tidy update about what the future looks like. I don't think I will for a while. But I'm not in the parking garage anymore. I'm not sitting outside the edge of something, trying to figure out what the actual reality is. This is the reality. It's heavy and it's ours and we're in it together. That's enough for now. Hi there, if you made it so far. Consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing. Thanks. And have a nice one.